Before I go on to give you the question, I just keep telling you one of my most used phrase. Again and again, you'll be hearing me saying this again and again. For rotational motion, if we are finding anything, we find in the format of whatever quantity we are finding, we find in the format of the cm of the mass, as if it was a point body at the cm. Let it as capital to give some emphasis, of the cm plus about the cm. So what is that? What is the essence of this thing? Whatever you are finding, suppose you are finding kinetic energy, you will find it as if it was not an extended body but a point body. That means everything was concentrated on the cm and had a mass of whatever m. So the total mass was a point mass at m, at the cm, and the mass was m. So what would have been the kinetic energy if the velocity of the center of mass was v? It would have been half m v square. Capital M I have written over there. So half m v square. That is of the cm. This is of the cm. Once you have done that, then you will go on to the cm, sit on the cm and see whether it was having a rotation with respect to the cm or not. If it was having, then you will write the formula of about the cm, which you don't know yet. So forget about what I am writing. This doesn't matter. The thing matters is you have to write something about the cm, of the cm plus about the cm. You are finding angular momentum, that also of the cm, that will be of the cm as if it was a point mass, and you are doing the angular momentum about a point. And then if it was rotating also, then about the cm term will come into picture over there. So same way over here, if they are saying that this mass, you have to find what is the moment of inertia about this axis, then you'll say moment of inertia about the axis is, what if it was just a point mass over here at a distance d from that axis? It would have been md square if it was just a point mass having a massive value, big mass, but at a point location. So it was acting as a point mass at a distance d from the axis in consideration. Then the answer would have been md square alone. But then once you have done of the cm, you have to do about the cm. What about the cm? Then about the cm, the moment of inertia would have been ICM. So the essence of the cm and about the cm is shown over here also. As if it was a point mass, the answer would have been md square. And then what about the distribution all around the center of mass? So that gives you the extra I over there. Okay, now coming on to the question. There might be few points where you'll get caught, so watch out for those points and try to do the question with the overall picture of what is happening. Now suppose you have a certain body of a construction which is like this, that it was a sphere, and from inside the sphere another sphere has been carved out such that the radius of the original sphere, of the big sphere, was r, and from inside you have taken an r by 2 sphere carved out. So that's a hollow inside a sphere. So we could have used a disk, but we have been doing too much of 2D, so this is a 3D object, hardly matters. I'll give some shading over here to emphasize that this is the solid part and this is hollow inside. From outside it is, you can't see it, inside there's a hollow of that much. So this thing, so maybe a top of a lady or something, where this goes into the air. So this thing is having a mass of m. So the mass of this thing with the void taken out and everything, that mass is m, not of the complete sphere, because I'm giving you this object and I'm saying that these are the dimensions and this is the mass of the object. So not to be confused with the mass of the whole thing. So whole thing was never there. We might use it in doing the problem. Now what I'm asking you is, given that the moment of inertia of all symmetric bodies and all regular bodies, you know, for a sphere, you know, for a hollow sphere, you know, everything, you know, for a rod, you know, for a disc, you know, all those moment of inertia, you know, given that, what would be the moment of inertia of this thing, this body given to you about an axis which is perpendicular to the plane, in and out, passing through that point. So yeah, that's your question, and you shouldn't be taking long to do it, but then don't miss out on, don't overlook a few points which you have to be dealing with very carefully. So I would advise you can go slow, because if you are doing for the first time, you can go slow with it, but ultimately these questions are run-of-the-mill questions. They come a lot, various shape, a smiley kind of thing or something, and they will ask you the moment of inertia. So get on with it. So first of all, I hope you have got some answer, and then I further hope that that answer what you have got is correct. So let's do it. You can quickly go on, you can skip and see whether your answer matches mine or not. If not, then rewind and see what all has to be done, or you can fast forward anyhow whether it is matching or not. So the thing is, in physics your plan has to be solid. You have to have a certain plan which consumes more of the time than actually processing the plan. So your plan, you put the plan in place and then execute it. So we just simply can't start writing something, so we have to go on with the plan. And I said that we know the moment of inertia sum of the bodies like sphere and all, so we'll use that which has been found through integration, and we are going to avoid, I'm in no mood of doing integration for this body because it will be too complex. So the thing is, we are going to use those values. Now how we have to use those values? Now what we wish, what the question was, had the question been just a solid sphere and not a hollow one, just a solid sphere and not without this hollow, then what is the moment of inertia about that? If that was a question, I think that was a doable question. Okay, if this was given just this kind of sphere and ask what is the moment of inertia, that was a doable question. What about this? So we'll try to break it into things which we can do and see how they are related. So moment of inertia is actually an algebraic addition of all the masses into the distance square from the asked axis, not the point, the whole axis. Okay, so we'll break up the question into, or in fact we'll break up the question like this. Had a whole sphere been asked of the big radius, capital R, so I'll mark it in blue, capital R. Mind you, mass of this is not given. Moment of inertia of this about the same axis would have been moment of inertia of, I'll try to draw, it's smaller than what is over there, but just imagine this to have a radius of r by 2, mass having a sphere having a mass and a radius of r by 2, this plus moment of inertia of the thing given to us. That's the thing given to us about that axis. First of all, do we agree on this or not? Same moment of inertia is I big sphere about that point. Moment of inertia of this is I small sphere about the point, and this is the I asked about that point. So is this, do we agree to this or not? If we, then we'll see that whether this kind of breakup is going to help us or not. So the point is, moment of inertia of this big mass of the whole sphere must be moment of inertia of all the small parts it is made up of with respect to that axis. So I have divided into two parts. One is a sphere here, a solid sphere here, and the rest. The rest means there is no solid sphere there. So this plus this makes up that, provided we are doing the moment of inertia about the same point. It is not like we are not making the point go here and there. Sorry, not the point, the axis. We are not making the axis go here and there. So it is about the same axis. So it is in fact this integration could have been done using any kind of sweeping from top to bottom, left to right. So we are not integrating, we are adding in chunks. One chunk is a solid sphere here and the other chunk is this kind of shape. So these two chunks added gives me that. So the moment of inertia of these two added will give me that. So try to grasp this, let it seep in you if you have not done like that. So I hope we are convinced that this relation holds. Moment of inertia of this mass about that point, this mass about that point, sorry, the axis, this axis, and moment of inertia about that axis are related this way, and we are hoping to get the moment of inertia, these values, because here I have more confidence because it is a regular shape, and if I know the mass and the radius I can get it. So, and same way over here. So the big if I know the mass. So the catch over here is the mass of this body was given to you. Mass of this body was m. Mass of this body was capital M. Is this mass capital M? No. Is that mass capital M? No. So our first job will be to get the mass of these two bodies correctly, so that we can write the moment of inertia of these two bodies correctly. So in fact, I'll just continue writing over here. So I'll do all my other findings in some other place. So how to get the mass of this? How to get the mass of this? So I'll just pause and let this part sink in to you, that you need to get the mass. That is the case in many of the questions. They give you some mass and in your hurry and scurry you forget to figure out the mass of the whole thing, which has to be different from the one which is given to you. All because the formula reads like 2 by 5 mr square and all, and then m, sometimes you miss out that the m was not the m which is what is given to you. So what would be the mass of this? How to get that? So what's our plan? We know the mass of this. We know it's a regularly distributed body. So we can get the density of this, the volume density, the mass density of this we can get. So what's the density of this? The density of this would be, I'll write it as rho, and hence the density will be the total mass divided by the total volume. The total volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube minus 4 by 3 pi r by 2 cube. So 4 by 3 pi common, r by 2 cube. Is it not the volume of this body? Yes, it is. Hence, what would be the mass of it? So this m over here, 4 by 3 pi, that's 8 by 8 minus 1 by 8. So that gives you 7 by 8 r cube. So that's the volume. So this 8 goes on top and 7 remains at the bottom, and I'll just leave 4 by 3 as it is, because eventually when I multiply with the volumes, that will also have a 4 by 3. So I'll just put the 8 over here and leave that 4 by 3 as it is. Okay, now that's your density. That's your density. So first thing, we'll get the mass of this thing. What is the mass of this thing? The volume of this thing into the density, which is the same material, into this density. So the mass of this thing, I'll call it as capital M dash. So capital M dash would be equal to volume of the whole body, which is 4 by 3 pi capital R cube into this density, which is 8 by 8m by 7, 8m by 7, and then you have a 4 by 3 pi R cube. So what happens is this 4 by 3 pi r cube and 4 by 3 pi r cube gets cancelled, and what we get is the mass of this is 8 by 7. So I'll just write it cleanly over here. Your mass m dash is equal to 8 by 7 times m. Units are all right. It is in the unit of mass. It is more than m. It is slightly more than m. It is 1 by 7th time more than m, and rightly so, because this body had only a small volume taken out. That volume was 1/8 of the total volume compared to, so it was not making that much of a that it was not a substantial mass which was taken out. In fact, what we are going to find over here will be the remaining mass, such that what should it come? Can you tell me, just quickly tell me, what should it come? So the mass of this plus the mass over here, which was m, so I'll call it as 7 by 7m. then this should be 1 by 7m. So 1 by 7m plus 7 by 7m gives you 8 by 7m. So the mass of this one is, I'll call it as small m, and the mass is 1 by 7 times m. So 1 by 7 times m plus, or this minus 1 by 7m gives you the mass of the body given over there. So 8 by 7 minus 1 by 7, 7 by 7, that's that. And anyways, if you want to do the density into the volume, then again it's the same thing for you. Small mass will be the volume of the small thing, which is 4 by 3 pi small r, which is r by 2 the whole cube. R by 2 the whole cube will be r cube by 8. So that's the volume of the small thing into density of the small thing is the same as the density of this big thing, which is 8m by 7, 4 by 3 pi r cube. This thing I've written over here. So we get a 4 by 3 pi r cube. 4 by 3 pi r cube gets cancelled. We get a 8 cancelled with 8. So we get eventually m by 7, which we figured out anyways, because the total mass has to be the addition of this mass plus that mass. Okay, so we have the masses, we have the radii. So now the next thing is to get the moment of inertia. So moment of inertia of this sphere is not 2 by 5 mr square. That is about the center of mass. We have to get the moment of inertia about this point. So we'll apply a parallel axis theorem and get the moment of inertia about this axis. So what will that be? That would be ICM of the big mass plus shifted by how much distance? That distance is r. So big mass, which is m dash, into r square. That will be your IB. What will be IS? IS will be again ICM of the small mass. S stands for the small mass, plus shift it, and how far it is. So you are finding from the center. So how far it is from there? That is r by 2 away. So small mass m into r by 2 square plus this I is the I what we want to get. So we are not writing that, we are going to get that. So that thing would be this thing minus that thing. So we'll just continue writing in the same line. It was a solid sphere, so 2 by 5 m dash radius of the solid sphere square, which is capital R, plus we have a m dash r square. So 2 by 5 plus 5 by 5 gives you 7 by 5 m dash r square is equal to, what about here? We have again 2 by 5 m, and then radius of this sphere. How much is the radius of that sphere? R by 2. R by 2 square plus m r by 2 square is your I. So we'll further calculate over here and then do the subtraction. So what did I say? It is a 2 by 5 plus 5 by 5, which is 7 by 5 m dash r square. How much is m dash? M dash is 8 by 7. So 8 by 7 m. M dash is 8 by 7 m into r square. So that's the calculation of the left hand side. Here again 2 by 5 plus 5 by 5, which is 7 by 5 small m. Small m is how much? Small m is 1 by 7 m. So m by 7, and then r by 2 the whole square, which is r square by 4. So that is what we get over there, plus your I. So that's your, almost the final thing is done over here. So we are very near to the answer. Your answer of I would be this minus that. So on doing a subtraction, we'll further take 5, we'll take this 7 and 7 is getting cancelled. So what we have is 5 is there common in both. So we have m r square common in both, 5 common in both, and then we have 8 over here. So 8 minus, what do we have over here? 1 by 4. So m r square by 5 outside, and then 7 cancels. So you have a 1 by 4 over there. So that gives you a 32 minus 1, which is 31 by 4. So eventually your answer is 31 by 20, 4 times 5 is 20 mr square. So that's your answer. That's the moment of inertia of this mass about the given axis. So I hope you got that answer right. Just do a cross check on the calculations. And so this is how it is done. You break up the body into bodies what you know, get those I. So two places where you can get caught is one, not working out your masses correctly. So work out your masses correctly. And the second thing is finding the moment of inertia about the same axis. If it is about the same axis, then only you can do addition like this, otherwise not. So, and then we applied a parallel axis theorem to go over there. Okay, so what I am asking is, what is the moment of inertia about an axis which is parallel to the one which you have found? You can call it as A now, and this one as B. If you have found that, so IA is there with you. IA value is 31 by 20 mr square. Yeah, coming to this 31 by 20 mr square, I just forgot to do one of my pet exercise which I do whenever I get an answer, is to analyze the answer. So some kind of analysis can always be done in any physics answer. Most probably, most of the time it can be done. So you see, it is giving you value which is more than 1 mr square. The constant over here is more than 1. Most of the values what you would have seen would have been a fraction, half mr square, 2 by 3 mr square, 3 by 4, 2 by 5 mr square and stuff like that, 1 by 12 mr square, 1 by 3 mr square. Now this one is giving you more than 1 mr square. So I am like, did I do everything right? Did I mess up somewhere? So anyways, I was as such expecting answer more than 1 mr square. Maybe 31 by 20, I can't verify till that level, maybe some calculation error, whatever. But answer has to be more than 1 mr square is a certainty. Just pause the video and give it a 30 seconds of thought that why am I saying so. So I guess you would have thought through. So why am I saying so? Why am I saying so? So I'll just come over here to the body. Now if I consider the body just to be a point mass and not to be a distributed mass, so where it is at the CM. So where will be the CM of this? The CM of this will not be here because this much is missing. So CM would have gone down a bit. So that's the CM of this weird body. So this peculiar body is having a CM over here. Now if I consider the whole M to be here, my answer of I would have been about that, so which I have called as A, so IA would have been M into that distance square. Now that distance is more than R, it is R plus something, and then R plus whatever it is, R plus that thing square would have been, had the whole CM been over there. And then we know that if it is not over there, some are before it, some are after it, then my answer even increases, as I discussed in the first video. It doesn't go below this value, it goes above that value, because you have, as I have given you example, I think a 10 minus 1 whole square, 10 square, and a 10 plus 1 whole square. So that eventually becomes greater than 10 square plus 10 square plus 10 square. So if you go back to that value, you'll understand the logic I'm saying over here. So the point is, R plus something as such, the whole square, so makes it more than mr square, and even if it is a 1.1, 1.1 square will be 1.2, so it is going to grow up in value plus other things. So I'm getting a value which is slightly above 1.5 mr square. So I'm hoping it is a all right value, it's an okay value, and if it is in one of the options, then my confidence will be even doubled. And mind you, this kind of logical thinking might help you if you have 4 options and 3 of them were less than 1 mr square, and then only one was more than mr square, then you'll not even do all these calculations, you'll just forego and have some confidence in your logic and tick that answer off without even calculating. Okay, coming back to this, if I have to calculate IB, then how do I do it? Now guys, the way to do it is not jumping on from here to there and applying a parallel axis theorem. So this was kind of a trap that they have asked you to do this first. So then you have done a lot of hard work and then you think that you can do a parallel axis theorem and shift over there straight off. You can't do that. In fact, finding the CM, hopping to the CM and then going would be the right process, but then getting the CM is also a pain over here because you'll have to do a certain equation to get that, which is taking the axis as from wherever you want, from the center if you want, then you'll write the big M, this big M into 0 plus this small m into r by 2 is equal to, or in fact this big M into 0 is equal to the small m into r by 2 plus this m of this into the distance from where the CM of that is, and that will give you the CM of that. So I'm not going into that because I hope you know how to calculate CM. So once you've got CM, you'll do a parallel axis theorem to get your ICM, and then go on to this. So you'll have two calculations over there. I would rather prefer do the whole of this thing again with this axis, means the axis B being here somewhere for this one. Do this whole exercise again. So this value remains same. This value will be mr square plus this much, which is r plus r by 2, so 3r by 2. So m and 3r by 2 whole square. You'll get your I small there, and then that will be the resultant answer. So you'll do the whole process again instead of shifting, because shifting is not going to give you answer directly. You have to hop onto the CM, and hopping onto the CM means finding the CM and doing two calculations, going to the CM and then going away from the CM. So three calculations it will require: finding the CM, hopping to the CM, and then from the CM to B. So I think this would be much shorter. I have written it in so many steps, could have been written in one or two less steps because the calculation I was just showing over here. So I think this would be the shorter way. So I hope these two examples clarify your parallel axis theorem, and they are very interesting ones, but I would rather like to do perpendicular axis theorem first, so that we can give you a mix of questions, so that you have something to think over, whether to apply perpendicular or parallel or both in combination. So better questions will come when you know both the theorem properly. So on to the perpendicular axis theorem now.